Hey besties! Before we dive into the thirst, betrayal, and emotional whiplash that is episode 4 of My Golden Blood, a quick heads up. This episode recap contains spoilers, like full-on play-by-play Marcus licking his lips over tomato juice kind of spoilers. So if you haven't watched it yet, go hit play, then if you haven't watched it yet, go hit play, then come back here for all the chaotic commentary. Otherwise, buckle up, it's about to get dramatic. Okay, episode 4 opens up with what should be a simple class project. Tong needs a group, sounds easy, right? Wrong. Cause guess who's already signed up to be on his team? Mark. A rich vampire stalker with the face of a K-pop idol and the trust issues of a Victorian ghost. Tong tries everything to find literally anyone else. He begs, pleads, side-eyes, but nope. Everyone else has a group. So he's stuck. The group becomes Tong, Tongclaw, and Mark. The dream team of stress, suspicion, and vampire tension. Tong's not thrilled. He tries to assert his boundaries again with the classic stay one arm's length away rule. But Mark, unbothered. He even says, when you have money, you can do anything. Oh, bold of you to say in a classroom, sir. At lunch, Tong is clearly uncomfortable. Why? Because Mark is just staring at him like he's lunch. Literally. Tong's like, people are staring. Bestie, maybe because you're glowing. You are also insanely hot. Let's not act like Mark is the only snack in this room. Back at the dorm, Mark is still there. Tong finally snaps. He's like, why are you following me? Mark goes full logic mode. You said Tongclaw's always with you. Where is he now? Mark then drops a spicy line about how once Tong has real friends, not just Tongclaw, he can tell him to leave. And while saying this, he gets closer. Too close. Tong backs up, trips onto the bed. Like, of course he does. Sir, give this boy some space. So now Tong is on a mission. Not a mission to survive vampires, because that would make sense. Not to unlock magical blood powers. No. He is obsessed with making friends. He starts studying friendship like it's an AP exam. 1. Be generous. 2. Help without being asked. 3. Trust and don't betray. Tongclaw is like, what era are you living in? And Tong is 100% serious. Then we get the twist of the century. A new tenant moves in next door. Tong, all happy-go-lucky, going to make friends, makes sandwiches to welcome them like a good neighbor. Opens the door. It's Mark. Of course it's Mark. Of course this vampire bought the apartment next door. He even says if the landlord had let him, he would have bought the whole building. But alas, he must slum it like the rest of us with rent. Tongclaw is just confused this entire episode. Honestly, same. Later, Tong volunteers for extra credit, asks some classmates to help. They say yes. He's excited. Mark, he's suspicious. You trust them? Tong, yes, very confidently. Cue next scene. Tong is alone at the library. They ditched him. The students didn't show up. Who does show up? Mark, of course. He's holding his judgment like a trophy. I warned you. And then, if you want a friend so bad, I can hire you one. Mark, baby, no. Tong is heartbroken, but still hopeful. He says he chooses to see the good in people. Mark, ever the emo vampire, compares human hearts to clock hands. They always change over time. Which, poetic, I guess? He calls human friendship pointless. Tong disagrees, says friendship chase away loneliness. He is not asking for the moon, just someone to stand by him. Mark tries to touch Tong's shoulder, but of course Tong's phone buzzes. It's Tongclaw asking for help with basketball. Q2 basketball court, Mark is reading, fully ignoring the game. But then the team is short a player or two. Tong offers to help, still short one. So Tong, petty prince that he is, turns to Mark and is like, "We're not that desperate." Mark, offended, says he'll only play if someone scores on him in a one-on-one. Challenge accepted. Mark dominates everyone. Tong gets a turn. Mark puts on a blindfold to be dramatic, but it backfires. He forgets about Tong's magical sweat. The scent overwhelms him. Tong scores. Everyone celebrates. Mark just stands there like he's been hit by Cupid's axe. Later, Tong is hanging laundry. Mark appears, again scaring Tong. Tong asks, "Is being around humans a you thing or a all vampires thing?" Mark just smiles. Then Mark sniffs his shirt. And dead serious, he says, "I like your smell." Tong answers, "It's fabric softener." Mark, smiling, goes, "I know, but I still like it." And then stares in silence. So Tong shows up at Mark's door later, giving him a tomato juice as a thank you for catching his shirt. Mark asks, "Are we friends now?" Tong answers, "I'll think about it." Next day, grocery shopping. They are matching. Both wearing white. Mark bought the same fabric softener as Tong, and Tong asks why. Mark, deadass, goes, "Because it smells like you, and I like it." Without looking at him. Mark, get a hobby that isn't snorting your classmate. They find Tongclaw at work in a full hot dog costume, mind you. It's giving comedy, it's giving dignity sacrificed for rent money. Tong is there to drop off some documents, probably thinking it's just a chill errand. But then, boom, in walks Nakan. Nakan, the man, the mystery, the jawline. The vibe shifts immediately. He's dressed casually, but every movement screams, "I know something you don't." Mark stiffens. His whole aura changes. He walks up, all icy and suspicious. "What are you doing here, Nakan?" Nakan smiles. Smirks, really. "Working." Mark is not buying it. He's giving off "I will snap your neck if you blink wrong" energy. And Nakan? Completely unfazed. Hot. He flips it right back. "Why are you here, Mark?" Mark says he's just delivering documents to a student. Chill, casual. Except he throws in the little fact that Tara Group now owns the university. Nakan shooketh. He pouts, offended no one told him. Honestly, I'm surprised he's even surprised by this. But the second Mark walks off, Nakan's face shifts into that scheming smirk, like he's already planning his next 3 moves. And Tongclaw, still dressed like a hot dog, completely clueless. Also, should probably mention that Tongclaw is giving Nakan puppy dog eyes. Like, please pet my head eyes. Honestly, same. Then back to the library. Tong falls. Mark catches him. Mark yells at him for being careless, and Tong claps back that he should help him instead of yelling. Tong gets excited about a book that he finds, Pride and Prejudice, and Mark quotes, "We're all fools in love." Tong roasts the man. That's not even in the book, that's from the movie. Tong tries to grab the book, but he's too short. Mark leans over, grabs it, ends up way too close. This is full-on library trope. He's sniffing again. Tong is practically blushing. His heart is racing. It's tension. Cut to Mark in the shower, and we're getting quotes from Pride and Prejudice. "I could easily forgive his pride if he had not mortified mine." Also, let's not forget, Mark is in the shower, naked, while we're getting this. "And then I was in the middle before I knew that I had begun." Mark is also having flashbacks to almost kissing Tong in the library. Next day, library again. Things are awkward. Tong asks if now that he has basketball friends, will Mark stop following him? Mark says no, he's on the basketball team too now. Tong says Mark still hasn't earned his friendship. Then Nakan shows up again from afar, but he's looking like a whole meal in a blazer. Mark sees him talking to Tongkla and immediately becomes suspicious. Because when is this man not suspicious? Tongkla says Nakan just offered him a job after seeing his hot dog hustle, and Mark doesn't buy it. Later, Mark checks Tongkla's phone when he's not looking. Tong walks in, sees it. He's livid. Mark tries to explain that Nakan can hypnotize people, and Tong keeps saying that Tongkla would never betray him, and he's heartbroken that Mark would go behind his back. Cut to Tong and Tongkla doing homework. Mark offers his notes. Tong refuses, says, "You wouldn't understand, this quiz is about friendship." Mark is crushed. They argue. Tong says, "You can't just throw money at people, try being sincere." And they walk off. Basketball game time. Tong's still mad. Won't touch Mark, won't look at him. Well, he still looks at him a little bit. But Mark, he dominates the game. Gets fouled, hits the ground, Tong flinches, he cares. The basketball team defends Mark. Mark realizes maybe Tong's friendship checklist isn't so dumb after all, because he's feeling something. Then, shower scene. Which is more innocent than it sounds. Both of them. Towels, steam, eye contact. Mark says he'll stop suspecting Tongkla. He gets it now. He apologizes. Tong accepts. That's it. Like, they're just naked for no reason. Later, they're sitting on the grass. It's quiet, peaceful. Mark sipping tomato juice, like a child. Tong asks to try it. Mark hesitates. Tong uses his friendship rules against him. Mark lets him. Tong tastes it. Not good. He says only a vampire would enjoy this. Mark asks, "So are we friends now?" And Tong answers, "I'll think about it." Of course he will. And then Mark looks at the juice bag where Tong's lips touched it. And baby, he freezes. Like, this man just entered a full sensory shutdown. He's holding that juice box like it's sacred, staring at the straw like it personally offended him with how much he wants it. His eyes flick from the straw to Tong's lips and back. You can hear the internal monologue. That's where his lips were. Should I? I shouldn't. But what if I did? His heart, it's pounding. Breath shaky. Tong has no idea he's just casually triggered a vampire meltdown with one sip. Mark's eyes are locked, pupils dilated, looking like he's about to either combust or confess. The tension is loud. Mark kisses him. Fierce, possessive, hand on Tong's neck, lips crashing together. End of episode. I am not okay. This episode gave us hot dog costumes, blindfolded, basketball, emotional trauma, and a kiss that shattered the atmosphere. Mark is in deep. Tong is changing everything, and I need therapy. We all do. Thanks for joining me for this My Golden Blood episode 4 recap. If you're loving this podcast, follow, share, and leave a review. And remember, if he buys your fabric softener, stares at your mouth, and quotes Austen incorrectly, he's not just flirting, he's falling.